Welcome to another episode of Liberty Mastermind Podcast. I'm Ox, along with my buddies Pat and Jack. And tonight, we're talking about geography, touching on the gun control issue, and lastly, some media lies.
Gonna take a freight train down at the station, and I don't care where it goes. I'm gonna climb a mountain, the highest mountain, Lord. Gonna jump out.
All right. What up, fellas?
What's up, man?
Happy to be here.
Looks like Pat is into a little whiskey. Jack was into a little. What'd you have, Jack?
I had vodka.
Vodka and root beer or something like that.
Yeah, I put about 4 ounces in a glass and then poured root beer in it and slammed it down real quick.
Professional.
Root beer and vodka sounds so good.
It is.
So first
And I
step of the
just got-
show, what are we drinking? Root beer and
Vodka.
vodka, right?
Yep.
Or just straight vodka?
No, just root beer and vodka.
Root beer and vodka.
I'm out now, so it might be just vodka soon.
All right. So, gun control.
Wait. What are you drinking, Pat?
Jefferson's whiskey in my cool cup with my bullet in the side and some whiskey stones.
Where did you get that?
My girlfriend saw it on Instagram and she thought, he would like that. She's
From
good
the-
to me.
Bullet in the side store.
Yeah.
I've seen that on Amazon.
Those are amazing Rick and Morty stickers.
Yes.
Mm.
My roommate got me those. I'm turning him to the dark side. And
As you
actually,
should.
Tonight I forced him to go deep down the rabbit hole and into fan theories on YouTube. So I walked in the door and he's like, got his laptop open and I can hear like he's got Rick and Morty on TV and he's got some YouTuber explaining like what dimension are they really in. I'm like, fuck yeah. Makes me
That's
happy.
awesome. That's great.
It's like my conspiracy theories, except I don't feel miserable learning about it.
Right.
All right. So, Ox, any kind of beverage you doing tonight?
I did some bulletproof coffee earlier, but nothing right now.
Cool.
Yeah, nothing.
Let's do this first one right up front because we have a video for it and because it should be pretty short. The media lies. So this was sent to me at like 1 a.m. from my girlfriend. And she says, hey, I think you'll like this. And I'm like, no shit. So the video is, it's not a new phenomenon. People have known about it for a while where dozens and dozens of media agencies say the same exact thing like they're reading a script.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just has some really superb editing on it. And I sent that to you guys. I sent that out on the Discord channel. And if you're listening to this recorded on your podcast platform of choice, you can listen to us live as we record. If you go over to Discord, the link will be in today's show notes at libertymastermindpodcast.com. The link will be at the bottom of the page.
Hell yes, it will.
And I'm loving
Yeah,
Discord.
Yeah, it's pretty fun to be able to, throughout the day, like, you know, when you got an extra minute or two, just be like, hey, I wonder who's online and which thread they're, you know, typing in, whether it's lock picking or knives or side hustling or whatever. It's kind of cool. I really like it.
Yeah, it's good shit.
And a moment ago, Pat, when you said media outlets, it's interesting. It's you know, whether it's like Fox or CNN or whichever shade of you know, on the political spectrum it is, they're all, like you mentioned, they're all mentioning this same, almost word for word, narrative.
word.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I saw that kind of going around Twitter and Facebook and other platforms today. It's very interesting.
So I did a post on Discord. I should probably do an Instagram post too, but So here's some of the things that I hear quite frequently when I question the official story, whether it's 9/11 or the OKC bombing, or whether it's a current event, or whatever the issue is. So people say, "Oh, I heard that this happened." I very often will go, "I'm not concerned yet. I'm not going to get all emotional." I say, "I'm going to wait for a few more facts to come out, and then I'll form my opinion." And it drives people nuts. They go, "Can you believe this is happening?" And I go, I said, whether it's happening or not, or real or fake, I say, I can guarantee you, no matter what happens, you're not getting the full story. So I tell people that all the time. And some of the things that like when I question the media, people go, like, here's some of the responses I get. "Yeah, but the Fox is right-leaning and the other ones are all left-leaning." And I go, sure, it could be, but I don't think that means either of them are right. And they say,
right.
Well, yeah, but, if they said something that was false, wouldn't people know? Well, yeah, people know all the time. Go on YouTube, look up fake news or media lies or whatever phrasing you want. How many times has the media lied to us? I have maybe I'll put that link into one of my favorite YouTube videos about the media bold-faced lying. So there's two reporters, and they're on different sides of the country, allegedly, and they say, "Oh, it's 9 a.m. over here," and the other one says, "Oh, it's noon over here." And they say, "Yeah, weather's great," and the other one's like, "Oh, yeah, this crap." And they're in the same parking lot, and the same car drives past both of them, and then the same car drives past both of them again.
Yep, I love those. Those
love
are great.
So
I haven't seen any of those.
So that argument's bunk, where they say, "Yeah, but if the media lied, wouldn't people find out?" Well, yeah, we find out all the time. Oh. Or, they're all owned by different people, so wouldn't they be competing? Like, wouldn't one want to be more honest than the other? Not if they're all owned by the same people. No.
Yeah.
Like, not they have different names, but the higher you go, if they're all owned by the same person, that's a facade. Like, it's not real. It's pretend.
Yep. Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to Fetch real quick. Hey, Fetch, thanks for joining in, and condolences, man. I hope the funeral went well yesterday.
So Fetch is tuning in to the live podcast recording. For anybody wondering what's going on, we're on Discord. Do you know, Pat, do you know who made that video that you are posting?
I don't know right this second. I can look it up while you guys chat, but
that's all good.
It's on my YouTube page.
It was very interesting.
They will both be posted and embedded in today's article.
Mm-hmm.
One's just my favorite, top 10 best media falsehoods, and the other one is the one that we're talking about right now, which is a really nice overlay with video and audio and great editing. It's the most recent media lie video I found, and I love media lies. Not the first time the media has told a story and I've been in it, and it wasn't true.
What?
Probably not the last.
Okay.
You guys
Speaking
got
of
anything
media,
else for media lies? Yeah, go for it, Ox.
I was going to say, speaking of media, that kind of it's a perfect opportunity to jump in on all this brouhaha lately with the what are we calling it? Gun control issue, or
Yeah, sure. Gun control.
Yeah, sure. And the fuckstick 17-year-olds that think they know shit.
Yeah, well, we all used to be 17.
That's right. And I thought I knew shit too.
Yeah, it's a good thing we don't let 17-year-olds run the country.
That's for fucking sure.
They're too busy eating Tide Pods and stuff.
Part of me wants to say, would it be any worse?
There's a new challenge. So there was that Tide Pod or whatever challenge that was going around. Well, there's a new one, which is you take a condom and you unravel it and inhale it through your nose.
What's a condom?
And then
no idea.
Look it up online.
So you inhale it?
you inhale it, and then you kind of reach in the back of your mouth, throat, and then pull it through your mouth. So it kind of goes in through the nose, down the back of the nose,
Yeah.
down in your throat, and then you kind of pull it out through your mouth. And that's some new challenge going around. Like these are the. Never mind.
Yeah, I had fucktard friends who used to do that in fucking high school.
Yeah, let's take this circular logic. It's my favorite. One of my favorite logical fallacies is the gun control one. So, A Clever Alias just hit us up on Discord with a sweet ass meme that we will post on today's show.
Yeah.
It says Pope Francis says one cannot be a Christian and own or manufacture firearms, and the photo is Pope Francis's basement full of guns. And there's a pretty cool looking. I don't know what.
I wish I had a basement like that.
Is that the Swiss Guard?
Yeah, the Swiss Guard with the cool colored pants. Swiss?
Yeah.
Are they Swiss? No, what are they?
Yeah.
God damn it. What country is that? They're inside France, right?
Italy.
No. Isn't it that tiny little country that's just
You're talking
Help
about
me.
the Vatican City.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe it's the Swiss Guard.
Oh, well, whatever they are. They all got
What the
guns.
fuck ever.
So
I'm not a fucking...
that's the circular logic. Okay, we're going to take guns from people because guns are bad. Okay, how are we going to do it? Well, guys with guns will show up and take your guns. Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
But guns are bad. Okay, well, guns are bad. They shouldn't be in schools.
And all police kill cops and shouldn't. They're all crooked and so
All cops are crooked, right?
Yeah.
So how can you have crooked cops and say cops should have guns?
Right.
Other people shouldn't. And then you have guns shouldn't be in schools. And then you say, okay, the president's kids, where do they go to school? Is there anyone guarding them? Like, are they like sick at hand-to-hand combat? Like really good? Like no guns, no knives, no weapons?
That'd be cool if they were.
Would be cool. Don't think that's legitimate. And then the celebrities love being in movies and shooting the fuck out of people and turning around and going, guns are bad.
Yeah.
And they show up to the red carpet, and I'm sure that there's lots of armed guards, and I'm sure that they're paying police details to close down the roads for them for their little special events.
Yep.
So
Someone pointed that out. Like it was maybe it was Vin or someone like Oprah and George Clooney are donating 500,000 or whatever it is to these events lately, and it's like they have armed guards.
Look here, the Oracle statement here. You guys are gonna like this. I think I am willing to turn in all my guns.
When?
How do you feel about that so far? Are you excited?
What's the when statement?
When the government says guns are bad, so we're throwing all of ours away, and the celebrities say guns are bad, so we're throwing all of ours away, and we're not using armed guards. When those two things happen, the celebrities and the government burn all their guns or roll them over with a steamroller or whatever, when we can verify that has happened, I'd be more than happy to risk it all and say, yeah, just take my guns for free. I don't even want compensation. They're all yours.
Yeah, I'm not even doing it then.
I think that's a safe bet, though. I think I'll be keeping my guns for a long time if I'm waiting for that to happen.
Yeah.
Not to mention the people that founded the country, they say any gun law. You know what? Maybe I'll do some research tonight, and by the time this airs, I'll put in a real reference or a real what the fuck do you call it? Research. So they say any gun law is intended only to disarm honest citizens who have no intent on committing a crime anyways, and all it does is empower criminals. That makes it easier to shoot people that don't have a gun for a gunfight.
Yep.
I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
Yeah, obviously.
I'm sure that there's more than one person that has said that founded this country. Not to mention, let's bring that circular logic back around where they say, America's the greatest country in the world. Yes. Does anyone remember how we got this way?
Guns.
How we left the largest country in the world. We fought the shit out of them.
That's right.
So Spanish.
And
it was Spain.
It kicked off because of ammunition.
I'm sure it kicked off because of a lot of things. So,
but hey,
go ahead.
I spent most of the Obama years arguing with gun control advocates, and I've realized that it's just fucking pointless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can throw out as many stats, FBI stats, and all sorts of bullshit. You can just throw it out and throw it out and throw it out, and it's all factual. And they don't get, at the end of the day, they don't give a shit.
It doesn't. It's circular. It's false
Right.
logic.
So all I've started saying is, look, I don't give a fuck what you think, legal or illegal. I'm keeping my fucking guns. The end. And it's been really nice. I've had lots of people unfriend me on Facebook, and I don't see their shit anymore. And the others who are still friends with me, they just fucking shut down. Like, that's the end of the argument, because I'm not debating anymore.
How about this one?
Keeping my fucking guns.
Legal or illegal, I'm a human. I'm peaceful. I have the right to defend myself. You're not taking that away from me because you're upset.
Yeah, right. If you choose not to have a gun, awesome.
Go for it.
That is totally up to you. I choose to have many. Deal with it.
I don't know if we can go any deeper on this one.
Yeah, I don't think we can either.
Pat,
That-
you went.
Go ahead.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to drill into this, but what kind of neighborhood is the high school that this big shooting with Parkland? What kind of neighborhood is that in? Like, tell me about the demographics of the kids. Because didn't you go there?
Yeah, it was a huge, well, not huge. It was,
what
I would
she
say, a
said.
medium to large size high school.
Okay.
I think I graduated with a couple, at least over 100 kids in my grade alone. It was Anytown, USA, man. It was, you had kids driving their parents' Mercedes to school,
Okay.
that were 16, 17 years old. And then you had kids, that were going through hard times that, were really lucky to catch the bus in the morning. And I wouldn't say that there was any spectacular split amongst them. It was, put us all in a pot and mix them up and push them into the school. It was really normal. It was really well mixed. It wasn't fucking special. The city was actually on the edge of Parkland, Florida. And another big city that bordered that was Coral Springs. So it was like largely a two-city school. The Parkland, the city that it's in, is tiny, but I mean, I thought that back when I went, a small percentage of the kids that went there were from Parkland. Probably less than 50%. And Parkland was a very expensive city back then. Lots of gated communities, lots of horse ranches, stuff like that. There was only one traffic light, whereas the city next door had no horse ranches, lots of traffic lights, lots of traffic crashes. It's nothing really special to report.
Okay.
I wish it were. I would love to tell you if it were special, but it's not.
Interesting. Just curious
my buddy
what the
texted me
demographics.
within an hour of that happening. One of my buddies that I went to school there with texted me. He's like, "Dude, this happened," and I said, "Buddy, do you remember standing in the halls there with me and me saying it's only a fucking matter of time until this happens here?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You said that more than once," and I said, "Yep." Like,
Well, why did you say that?
I don't know. I read a lot of fucking books. That's it. I read a lot of books. I try to have a longer attention span than most, I guess, media outlets would like us to think. Like, I remember Columbine happening, and I remember saying, okay, what's different about here? Nothing. We got weird kids. We got nice kids. We got good parents, bad parents. When I was in middle school, a buddy of mine, well, not a buddy, I didn't hang out with him outside of school, but one of the kids that was in my classes, my father was a law enforcement officer in that city. So he calls me. He's like, "Hey, are you friends with this kid?" And I'm like, "Well, I have some classes with him." He's like, "Well, were you close to him?" I'm like, "Well, no, he's kind of a jerk." He's like, "Oh," he's like, "He's not coming to school today. Him and his sister and his mom and his dad are all passed away last night. Dad came home and shot the kids and shot mom and shot himself, and that's it. They're all done."
Holy cow.
And so I remember things like that happening, and I remember thinking, we're splitting hairs here between a school shooting and any other shooting. People shoot people.
Yep.
I don't know why we
Right.
think schools are some fucking sacred holy ground.
People stab people. People beat people to death.
Yeah,
People run over people.
There's no difference. Look,
Right.
if you're walking across the street, you can get shot. If you're in school, you can get shot. The only difference is, if you're walking down the street, for most people, you're allowed to have a gun, whether regardless, whatever your licensing and legal situation is. If you're in a school, you're not allowed to have a gun. Does anyone miss this logic? I bet most people in our audience probably grasp it, but gun-free zones don't save lives.
Shitbags. I
It's-
don't even know
it's-
where I'm going with that.
Shitbags are gonna find a way. They're gonna ignore the gun-free zone part.
Yes. I had a really good saying, and then in my drunk state, I just completely lost it.
Yeah, and Sego's updating us on Discord saying because our modern failure of a government school system allows people to bully children with no repercussion. Yeah, that's I heard. I don't know where I saw the source, but someone said bullying will not be tolerated. This statement is one of the biggest lies of government schools.
Yep.
'Cause it's not real life. In real life, when someone beats the shit out of you, you call the police. Police show up. For the most part, the bully goes to jail. In school, a bully beats the shit out of you. You complain to a teacher or an admin person. What happens? They put both of you in the same room. They sit you down next to each other. They make you shake hands. You leave. You get your ass kicked again. Sometimes Sometimes they don't call your parents, and sometimes they don't call the police.
My nephew stepped in on a kid bullying another kid, and the bully swung at my nephew, and he let him swing twice, and then my nephew proceeded to beat the shit out of the bully. Guess who got in trouble?
Protector.
You nephew.
Yeah, my nephew.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a shame, man. It's a shame. And Sego, thank you for saying government school, because it's not a public school.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed in there. I don't have
Right.
a say on what happens there. I also pay for it, and I have no kids. So I wouldn't say it's public.
Nope.
And they're like prisons. I don't know if I was able to articulate it back then, but I've said, school's like a prison, probably because I heard it somewhere and it sounded smart. But, dude, there's a fucking big-ass gate that goes around the whole property. There's several fences with several locks on them. They're supposed to keep people in. And I always thought that as a kid. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of like a prison. This wedding is horseshit. Or prison on planet bullshit. So, of course, we snuck out all the time. But, yeah, it's like a prison. And so I obviously must have put that shit together when I was a kid. And I was like, it's like a prison. Kids here are miserable. It's not real world. Kids get bullied. No one stops them. Some kid's going to fucking snap. Kids do it all across the country. And that's the other thing, too. I was talking to someone recently about gun control, a friend of mine outside the podcast. And they said, yeah, we've got to do something. And I think I brought up the fire comment. I said, listen, how much money do we spend on fire in schools? A fuck ton preventing fires. And this wasn't on the podcast here. This was someone else recently. And they said, yeah, but we should do something. And I said, okay, how much money do we spend on school violence? And they didn't really have an answer. I said, it's a lot less than fire. I said, how many school fires have there been in the last 100 years where a student died? Google that. I have a sneaky suspicion that's a very round number. How many school shootings have we had in the last 100 years? Does anyone want to take a stab at that? I don't remember all of them, but once Columbine happened, I was a kid, I started remembering, oh shit, another school shooting. Oh shit, another school shooting. Oh shit. No, so this is not new. So with the media pumping this up, like, oh, this is terrible. Yes, it's terrible, but it's not new. We don't need to step in and make more government intervention. It's going to fail. It's not new. It's nothing new. People get shot all the time. Sometimes people in schools get shot. Like I said, the only difference is in schools, you're not allowed to have a gun.
Okay, so between March 18th, 1937 and March 31st, 1954, there have been 8 fires in which people have died, children have died in schools.
How many years does that span, roughly?
That's almost 20 years.
And how many kids died,
Um,
roughly?
let's see.
And that's in the early 1900s?
Yeah, I would say, 400 something, almost 500 kids. But the last one was March 31st, 1954.
So for 50 years, we haven't had a kid die in a school fire.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Go to Wikipedia. List of school shootings in the United States. There is no lack of information there. 1870s, 1880s, 1890s, 1900s, 1910s, 1920s. Jesus, 1930s. This is not my first time on this page, but whoa. Let's go back to 2000. Deaths. February 29th, 2000, Flint, Michigan, 1 death. May 26th, 2000, Lake Worth, Florida, 1 death. August 28th, 2000, Fayetteville, Arkansas, 2 deaths. September 26th, 2000, New Orleans, Louisiana, no deaths, 2 injuries. December 1st, 2000, San Diego, California, 1 injury. March 5th, 2001, Santee, California, 2 deaths, 13 injured. And it keeps going. Do you guys remember all these? La Rose, Louisiana, San Francisco, California, San Bueno, California, Conway, South Carolina, Madison, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama. Do you remember hearing about these on the news?
No.
Yeah, me neither. Funny, we're talking about media lies, and it's kind of wrapping in to our school shooting issues. Who we get our information from? The media.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing the media also didn't play that one. Was it off-duty officer recently that stopped an active shooting in a school?
Oh yeah.
That I'm a rational person. I like to also think I'm pretty good at pattern recognition and seeing how the media is reacting about school shootings and looking for a solution. I, as a rational person that sees the pattern of the media saying they want to help, wouldn't they be plastering that all over, like 24/7? Like, wouldn't that be like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking hero?
Heroes don't sell.
Oh, damn it. I don't know. Maybe it's boring because all cops are heroes, right? Oh no, I got in trouble for that. If anyone doesn't know the backstory, I have a shocking website called uncensoredtactical.com where somewhere in that website in my podcast, I must have said, just because you're a cop doesn't make you a hero. And I believe that statement because I know lots of cops that are assholes. Now, you're in a position that you could be a hero and do something heroic should something terrible happen and you step in. Sure. Context is also important, that the media is not really great with. Sorry, I've been taking over for a while. I'm going to slow down, or maybe I'll speed up with the whiskey. I'll do more whiskey sip and you guys take over for a minute. I'm getting pumped.
Hey, Pat, so on that note, can you think of a time where you got a call and you went and did your sheriff thing and you were like, you know what? I feel good. Like, this is the reason I got in law enforcement. Because, I mean, I've heard some of your stories where you're like, this is silly, but do you have one where you were like, man?
Yeah. That's the nice thing about full disclosure. I can fucking tell you guys however I really feel. So it's the only, I think it might be the only story where I'm like, God damn, that felt good. That's what this fucking job is all about. I think that's the only one where I had that feeling. So I get a call to respond to a grocery store where a person had their bicycle stolen, and I was like, oh God. And I say that because most of the things we deal with are with people there's a term called an illegitimate victim or not a legitimate victim, which means someone did a stupid thing at a stupid place with stupid people at a stupid time and then ended up being stupid. So usually it's not like, oh, he stole my purse. Usually it's, I tried to buy drugs from him. I didn't pay him enough. He gave me the drugs. He asked me for money. I said no. He grabbed my purse and left. So when you show up to the call, you're thinking, yeah, purse snatching. That's great. I'm going to get that motherfucker. And then you start asking questions, and you go, what's his name? And they go, I don't know him. I just met him. And I go, you met your purse snatcher? And they go, well, I mean, we had known each other. Okay, what do you mean we had known each other? Like, yeah, you don't know each other anymore, or you had? Well, I only know his first name. Okay, so you know the person that snatched your, and then it turns into just garbage. So so when I say
we've really been fucking for the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, so that's usually most of my calls are not legitimate victims. So I get a call for a bicycle being stolen, and I'm like, oh, great, another call where someone's gonna lie to me, and stupid crap's gonna happen, and I'm not really helping anyone. I'm just trying to sort through their garbage and figure out which person goes to jail for the, I don't know, the best fit. So I show up, and I'm pulling into the grocery store parking lot right up in front of the store, and I'm looking for my victim to see if I can find them. And a truck rolls their window down as I'm driving in, and they wave me down, and I'm like, what's up? And they go, I think it was something like, the guy went that way, like west. And I'm like, stolen bicycle? And they went, yeah, we saw him go west. And I'm like, cool. And they were like, yeah, the girl is, she'll be out any second. And I'm like, this is cool. If these people are helping me, that's great. So I see this girl, and she like sees my police car, and she waves, and she's a young girl, like, I don't know, like 16, 17 maybe, because I remember her being a minor. So I get out, I talk to her, I'm like, hey, did someone steal your bike? She's like, yeah, and the people in the grocery store let me watch the video cameras, and I know what he looks like, and he has my bike. And I'm like, you can identify this person that stole your bike? She goes, yeah. And I was like, this is it. This is a good call. I'm like, get in. So I open the door for her. She gets in the back of the police car, and we start driving the direction that the guy in the truck told me. I'm like, driving west. I'm like, listen, sweetheart. I'm like, if you think you see this guy, feel free to speak up. Like, that's what we're here for. I'm like, you don't have to talk to him. I'll do all the talking. I'm like, just let me know. So we're driving, and a quarter mile down the road, I see a guy that matches this description to a T, doesn't have a bicycle. And I'm like, hey, by any chance? And she's like, I was just going to say, that's him. And I'm like, you're sure? So I gas it. I turn the car towards the curb. I throw my lights on. I whoop the siren. And he does like the oh shit response, which isn't like, oh, that's weird, a car's whooping me with a police siren. Like, it was like, oh, crap. So she's in the car. I throw it in park, and I'm already, like, I can feel my skin getting hot. I'm pumped. So I get out, and I'm like, everything so far is telling me this is legitimate. So he's got a bag, like a plastic grocery store bag full of beer cans, and he just looks like death. And I did my screaming where I was angry and being in control, and I'm like, do this, do that, sit down, turn around. So I get another unit to come help me. So I'm questioning this guy. I'm like, hey, tell me about this, tell me about that. And he tries to bargain with me, and he's like, man, I can't. He's like, he's like, you seem pretty cool. I'm like, I am pretty cool. I'm like, can you tell me where this girl's bike is? And he's like, yeah, man, I don't have it, but like it's somewhere. And I'm like, great. So I'm writing all this stuff down. So I figure out that he shoved it underneath someone's like front porch, not too far away. So I get another officer to go to that address, and he gets me back on the radio, and he's like, yep, the bike's here. And I'm like, great. So feeling really good about this, right? The young girl's happy. She gets her actual property back. Like, that's something that doesn't happen very often in the criminal justice system. Like, someone might go to jail, but you're still screwed, right?
Yep.
So she gets her bike back, like the actual possession of her working bike. Guy goes to jail. That's a good thing. And if all of this is like a rough account, because it's been a long time since this happened. And I think about a month later, right, doing my job, I have a little bit of oomph in me. Like, I'm like that. Another good call might come around any day now instead of this bull crap. And then I get an email from the state attorney who says, in reference to this case number, the victim, because she's a minor, her parents have, this is obviously, I'm not reading this verbatim, but roughly, hey, this girl's a minor. Her parents are familiar with the offender, the guy that stole the bike. They know the guy. They kind of must have told the daughter that he does some work on their house or their neighbor's house or something. And
What?
long story short, the parents, i.e. kind of for the daughter, are not pressing charges. We're dropping the case. Guys,
What?
so the guy has not been charged with theft.
Wow.
That makes you feel good, right?
Wow.
How do you think
I'm
I handled
sorry.
how do you think I handled my next 10 calls that night? Would you say I did it with like super gusto,
No.
or was I
Probably not.
or was I just more down the?
Probably going through the motions.
Yep. So that was a really good story until I heard back from the state's attorney, or state attorney office, or whatever you call it.
That sucks.
They're really, really few and far between. Like, I'm trying to rack my brain right now about, like, I think a little over 2 years I was very active in patrol. I'm trying to think of calls that were like really good calls, and they are not. Like, it's got to be like in the high 90 percentile range of people that are not legitimate victims. They make their bed and then they don't want to sleep in it.
Yep.
One thing I took from that, let's be positive for a second. This is new, Pat, right? Let's be positive. One thing I took from that is I'm a really happy person. It was tough doing that job, but I'm really happy outside that job. I'm not miserable at that I did it. I learned a lot. I got to help sometimes, I think. I was in a position that I could help people. That's great. But I saw, especially with relationships, I saw so many just terrible, angry, miserable people that when I was not at work and when I was dealing with people like just me and like regular clothes dealing with other regular people, I just wanted to be so fucking full of love. Like, I wanted to help people. I wanted to smile. I wanted to be nice. And it sucked that even like most people doing that too were just, a lot of people are just angry, man. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I found my friend pool kind of shrinking, and I always say anything I can do to help, and you'd be surprised how many people's reaction is nah. Okay, hey, I care about you. Have a good night. Okay. So I mean, you can only do it so many times before you're like, fuck it, not getting that effort out of me again. But I'm really happy now. Super happy.
I can tell.
I have a sneaky suspicion our audience could probably tell too.
Yeah.
What about moving? Let's talk about geography.
Yeah, let's cut in on that topic heavy because I'd like to get off this policey topic. Let's go around the table. Where we live now. Let's do a snapshot of just where we're currently at. So, Ox, you asked. You're up. Where are you? What state are you currently in, and what are your pros and cons on that state?
Well, I'm kind of Indiana, Kentucky area,
Mm-hmm.
and I moved out here to go to school and to train, and fell in love with the area. The climate's nicer than Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, kind of where I spent a lot of my earlier years. And I don't know, I like the climate, the nature, beautiful green here. Yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Came for training in school and stayed for the climate, and the nature, and the job op.
I'd like to start getting in touch with some nature here too. Are there negatives where you're at that you don't like about your area or your state or your locale?
People don't like to use their turn signal around here. That's literally my only gripe. That's
funny.
I don't know if it's my pet peeve, but I'm not the only one that notices that driving around in either Indiana or Kentucky. Just people don't use their turn signals. They'll change lanes without doing it, and yeah, that's the only thing.
That's shocking.
uh,
I bet it would be different if you were trying to build a house or trying to run a business out of your home with permission from the government. I bet you'd have a little more info on that liberty scale.
yeah.
Dude, I love when Jack Spirko talks about that stuff. He's like, I live in a county where they can't fuck with me. And I'm like, oh, that makes me so happy to hear. Oh, I love it. And he's like, HOAs are bullshit. And I'm like, fuck yeah.
Oh, well, my other gripe is the Department of Making You Sad has very specific restrictions on the number of poultry you can have on your property in certain city limits. And if you upset them and don't bow down to their authority, they will come after you. They will come after you. I'm trying to think of coming up with an episode
with their chicken prosecutor.
Oh, their chicken prosecutor. They'll get the sheriff. They'll ambush you, stalk you. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I'm thinking about doing an episode where I go over that, and maybe we can all kind of discuss, use that as a springboard to discuss privacy and security. But yeah, that's my other grab. That and people not using their turn signals.
That's funny.
That's awesome.
Jack?
I live in Pickens, South Carolina. And I've been in South Carolina for 9 years, almost 9 years now. Yeah. Moved here from Dallas, Texas, where I met Fox. And this place is pretty awesome. I think they call it the gateway to Appalachia. You guys have been up here. It was beautiful, right?
Oh yeah.
Lots of waterfalls and mountain streams and all that jazz. Yeah, I love it out here. And unfortunately, there's quite a bit of meth out here, so that kind of sucks.
That's everywhere.
And
oh, really?
People are really anti-government. They're anti-taxes. They're anti-gun control. But there are so many people who are on disability here for bullshit reasons. They hate taxes, but they love that disability check.
I've got a lot of patients lately trying to get on disability. I'm like, I don't even know, like permanent disability. I'm like, I don't even know how to do that paperwork. No.
Yeah, I mean, we go through phases out here when you can tell when disability services are coming up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We just get flooded with calls for just bullshit calls on the EMS side. A lot of psychiatric calls, stuff
Ooh.
like that. Today was a psychiatric day. Yeah. It was kind of...
That shutter sound wasn't a dick pic. It's a lock-picking picture for Discord.
Uh-huh. Is that what the kids call it these days? Lock picking?
Yeah, picking and grinning.
Yeah.
Jack, I got a question. This is kind of like more a curiosity. So you mentioned methamphetamine in that area. Do you get any people doing crack cocaine? Like
No.
patients that you? Oh, okay.
No, it's heroin and meth. Like I don't really get any Flocka or bath salts or anything like that either. It's heroin and meth.
Okay, those are pretty. Those are the big two in this area. But I've had some patients lately like crack cocaine. I'm like, what? Like, I thought that was
1983.
Right? This isn't New York City, 1983. Like, where are you getting crack cocaine? Okay, just curious.
That's interesting.
Yeah. All right, Pat. Geography.
I was born in Florida. I'm a native, so there's not many of us. And for those of you outside of Florida, you might be surprised to hear some native lingo. A lot of people will say, where are you from? And if you say Florida, and they'll say, oh, are you a native or are you born here? And they go, yeah. And they go, oh, you're a cracker. Like,
What?
yeah, right? That's the reaction most people get. That is in Florida, when it's in reference to where you were born, that is not a pejorative. Like, that is the term for native-born Floridians down here. Obviously, the context is important. If you guys are tracking, yeah?
Yeah.
If you crackers are tracking.
Honkies.
I believe it's because, if I read it correctly, and if everyone that I've talked to is not an idiot, like it's common enough that if you're both from Florida, you probably one of the two of you know that term. Florida has a ton of agriculture and a ton of rural land, and that term comes from the cattle drivers that would crack the whip to get the cattle moving across the state. And I guess for some reason it was white guys that would maybe had something to do with white guys, but maybe it had something to do with natives. I don't know all the history, but I know that it's not a negative thing. Like, especially down by the beaches, when you get people that are like native beach loving Floridians, it's pretty common, especially when you're meeting new people. That's the way a conversation would go. Hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Florida. Oh, you born here? Yeah. Oh, you're a native? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a cracker. Oh, yeah, right. we don't say the word after that again. Like, that's it. Like, we're not going to call each other, hey, cracker. But it's like, it's a moniker that you use to identify where you were born. So I was born here. I'm a native. I've lived on the east coast of Florida, kind of by Fort Lauderdale. I went to school over in Parkland. And then I moved to the Gulf Coast a few years ago, kind of in the Tampa Bay area. And I am more happy with the Gulf Coast side. Our gun laws,
really?
As far as I've seen, I'm happy with the gun laws. I haven't needed too many business permits. I haven't really needed to build anything with permission, but I know we have a lot of rural counties that I'm guessing probably leave you the fuck alone. And a nice thing is that even in counties like the one I'm in, like that has a very high density population city in it, well, the county will also have an area within the county that's very rural, and it's not owned by the city, so it's a lot of time it's unincorporated county area. So I know guys that I've worked with in the past that, like, they work in the city and they drive out to the county when they're done, and they get left the fuck alone. So in Florida, it's very easy to find a high density area and live just outside it, and be completely like cows in the backyard rural, which a lot of people don't know about Florida. The West Coast is a little... let me mute that, sorry. The West Coast is a little more slow, I think. People aren't in such a hurry on the West Coast. It's a little less densely populated on the Gulf Coast of Florida. My big gripe about the Gulf Coast of Florida is if you're anywhere near the Tampa Bay area, it's a bay and there's lots of bridges. So anytime one bridge has a traffic jam or a car rollover or like a traffic stop or something weird on the side of the highway, everyone hits their brakes, and then everyone stops driving, and then all of the bridges get shut down. The other thing is we have the Skyway Bridge that goes from Pinellas County to Manatee County. It's southwest of Tampa. It's a huge, beautiful bridge. And for high wind warnings, everyone drives slow. And then the Highway Patrol will shut that bridge down several times a year, sometimes as often as once or twice a month. And then if you work or commute, if you have to go over that huge bridge and they shut it down, the only other route is like a 2+ hour route to go all the way around the bay. The problem with that is everyone goes that route around the bay, and then because the weather's bad and because people are pissed, they're driving angry, and there's more crashes around that route, so that gets jammed up. So that's a big complaint about the Bay Area. I've noticed on the East Coast, at least where I lived, everything's very gridded out. You got several highways going north-south. You have several highways going east-west. Some of them are better than others, but for the most part, you can always do like a zigzag method from highway to highway. And if those get stuck up, you can do the zigzag method like over, down, over, down, over, down. You can do that within the cities for the most part. So that was really great. On the Gulf Coast of Florida, all the way down from Naples, all the way up past Tampa, I've noticed that there is one city highway that goes like one main street highway that runs all the way up, and there's one interstate that runs all the way up. So even when either one of those gets blocked, they both get flooded and they both get blocked just because of the amount of traffic. So there's nowhere for that traffic to go. So traffic, ox like you, is my big complaint in this area.
Mm-hmm.
Where would I had one more positive thing. What was it? Oh, Florida. Yeah, I forget the exact number, but anywhere in Florida that you live, I've been told, like I remember seeing it in textbooks as a kid in school. There's nowhere in Florida that's more than like a 2 or a 3 hour drive to the beach. So if you're into that, that's always really nice. And like I said earlier, if you're rural, it's not always, you don't have to drive very far to go into like an urban area. So it might not be something you want to do every day to commute, but you can be far enough out that, I mean, even where I'm at, I'm on the edge of rural. So, I mean, like the closest bar or restaurant to me is a Chili's, and it's like a 15-minute drive, and with traffic, a little more. But like if I want to go to a like normal restaurant, or if I want to go to the beach, like it's 30 minutes ish, 40 minutes ish, depending on traffic. So I don't hear sirens all night. I don't have crazy people walking around like out front of my house at night. Like there's lots of cows around where I live. But if I want to go into town, like in Florida, it's really easy to flip-flop those two things. That's it. You guys want to move into where you would or wouldn't want to go for states?
New York.
Sure.
Sorry, Fetch.
Yeah, would not want to go to New York.
California.
People's Republic, Illinois.
Yeah.
We always hear about Illinois, California, New York City, or New York.
Go to Illinois anymore.
God, that's got to be on everyone's list, top 3. Like it's got to be.
Yep.
I don't know that I have a specific location I'm super interested in now. But what I think is really interesting is this concept of Walking to Freedom. That group that is up in New Hampshire, like Van Armani's moving up there. Some others. I think it's a really interesting concept that you have these 50 states and territories, and each of them is potentially a little science experiment. You have people of like mind moving up to New Hampshire, and what would it look like when you get a bunch of people that value liberty getting together like that? I think it's a real interesting idea. I don't have any specifics on my list right now, but it's a fascinating idea.
That's the Free State Project?
Yeah, Free State.
All right, we'll put a link to that.
I said Walking to Liberty, right?
Walking to Freedom is Jack Spirko's forum.
Yeah.
I've made a few posts on that, but I think he said it's not very active. I think he had a caller within the last several months that was like, "Hey, looking for a place to move," and he's like, "Hey, the forum's not real active, but you can get on there." So,
Free State Project.
The good news is
right.
with Walking to Freedom, you can see everyone else's past interactions on there. I've checked it a few times, and I might be in a position to move here soon, which I'm really excited about. So, Free State is New Hampshire. Walking to Freedom is Jack Spirko's forum that people can write into. Both of those links will be in the show notes.
And Jack talking about South Carolina always makes that sound very appealing. We'll see.
Dude, it's really badass out here. I made it sound bad with like the meth and the freeloaders, but
That's everywhere.
it's
Yeah,
everywhere.
apparently that's everywhere.
And I'm 4 hours from the beach, from the coast, and I'm 6 minutes from the mountains. So I get the best of both worlds. It's kind of nice.
That's what she
Beautiful.
Fucking dogs. Can y'all hear the dogs barking?
Yes. It's not too bad.
Faintly. It's very faint.
Okay, good.
I would not want to do California, New York, or Illinois.
Yeah.
I am very interested in Texas. I've been there to visit Texas Joe. I've been there to see one of my buddies who is a Austin police officer.
Mm.
I'm interested in Alaska, although I know it's very cold and very far away, and I think it's hard to ship things there sometimes.
I was very interested in Alaska before we moved out here. That's where I wanted to go. That was my vote.
My rule was I'm not moving there unless I'm bringing a woman with me.
Yeah.
Um,
My
that
dream was
sounds so appealing.
I had the woman. Now I just wanted like a few hundred or 1,000 acres away from everyone.
Yeah. I'm a very happy person, but I'm starting to fucking hate people, man.
Yeah.
I just need just a few to make me happy or to be happy with. So I would be interested in Texas and Alaska. Where else was I interested in?
I spent the first 31 years of my life in Texas. I like Texas, but I haven't been back since I left.
I have mixed opinions about it. Like I know people love to tout it as a liberty state.
It's not so much anymore.
Yeah, I can't say that it is, and it's so big, so fucking big that you have places like Austin that are liberal leaning, right? At least a little.
Very.
And you have places that are way rural where I'm sure they want to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah.
It's just a huge state, which, I mean, if we're talking liberty for a second and I'm allowed to rant, which that's one of my biggest arguments with people that say the government's good. And I like to take the federal versus state issue a lot, where I say, okay, if you live in the outer fucking banks of Alaska, do you think it's right that a couple hundred people thousands of miles away in DC should be in charge of what you do with your life every day? And it's always a very slow start for them to kind of try and build legs to come up with a defense for that argument. And I say, well, Alaska has a government. And then some of the big arguments are, well, the military. Alaska could have a military.
Yeah.
Well, if that's your argument, why don't we just get the whole world together and they'll just police everybody? Oh, no, wait, no, that's, I'm sure, stirring up some feathers. Hashtag NWO. So,
I would be okay with that.
I'd be great with that too. Like, take a cookie cutter and take DC out. What's going to happen? Well, we're all going to do the same thing we're doing now.
Yeah.
And we'll figure it out. Like, if the state of Georgia gets attacked and the state of Florida has a pretty good relationship, I think it's likely that we would be like, listen, man, we'll put some of our troops on the border and we'll send you a couple you can borrow. I don't think that's going to be too difficult to figure out. I also don't think we're going to go to war with each other. If we just cut DC out of it, I don't think Florida's going to be like, we're invading. I think we're going to be like, all right, how do we make some fucking money?
Right.
Now that we have so many less people to pay for their lives, let's just make some money. Let's be happy.
Yeah.
Sorry, that made me feel really good, that short little rant.
No, really, that really speaks to the idea of this, what Vin's doing and others, like what is the Free State Project, like, make some money up there.
Yeah, I've been following the Free State Project for, I don't know, 9 or 10 years, 8 or 9 years.
Oh, wow.
And, when I first heard about it, I was like, fuck yeah. But,
Not so much now. Okay.
Nah, not so much, no.
Any other big thoughts on geography before we close out?
No, I think I'm out of alcohol.
Yeah, I finished my whiskey. All right, well, another
fellas.
Successful show.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I forgot to do the warning in the beginning. Don't let your 11-year-olds listen. Fuck. I'm still going to click explicit on the podcast publishing.
There you go.
Forum
and you said it. The beginning, the end, whatever. You said it. Cut it out of the end and put it at the beginning.
All right,
I should get Emma to record that.
Don't let your 11-year-olds listen. That would be great. I can't even. All right.
I'm so doing that.
Thanks so much for joining us on Discord, folks. And if you're listening on your podcast platform and you want to catch us live, download the Discord app. The link will be in today's show notes at libertymastermindpodcast.com. It's a lot to type. I know. We're working on it. The best ways to support us: subscribe on your podcast platform, follow us on Instagram, on YouTube, go over to the website, subscribe on the website. You can always drop us a line. Just direct email us at libertymastermindpodcast@gmail.com, or you can click the contact link on our webpage, and that'll bring you to us as well.
Yep. We're on Facebook too.
We're on Facebook, and me, Pat, I'm on Instagram at Uncensored Tactical.
And I am on Instagram at ResQJack.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for joining us. See you next time.
Word.